What's up, everybody? Cynda here, and welcome back to yet another episode of Cynda Talks. What? You expected something a little more chaotic, bombastic? Just because I'm talking about the first game in my favorite Nintendo franchise? Well, sometimes you have to slow down a little bit. You can't rush through life, you know? Sometimes you'll just miss out on the little things, and it's important to stop and smell the road.
Smash 64! Released in 1999 for the Nintendo 64, it was directed by our king, Masahiro Sakurai. It was originally called Dragon King the Fighting Game and had famous characters, Captain Boring and Mr. Stock Unity Asset as playable characters. After showing the demo to Iwata, who encouraged Sakurai to keep going, Sakurai decided to try implementing Nintendo characters to make the game more original and also to sell more copies. He then showed off the demo and it was, very fortunately, greenlit. As for my own experience with Smash Brothers, I can stop whenever I want, I swear! Smash 64 was actually the first game I played in the series. I got it on the Wii Virtual Console, and if I'm being honest, I can't quite remember why I wanted it. Either I had heard good things about Smash Bros, or because it had Nintendo characters on the cover. I played it for a while, but eventually shelved it. My next game was Smash for 3DS, and this is without a doubt the game I was most excited for ever. I played the demo to exhaustion after one of my best friends gave me a demo code for the game. It was also back in the 6th grade, and math has always been one of my most difficult subjects, so I wanted to do super well in the tests we had coming up so I could ask my parents to take me to buy Smash 3DS. Well, it was the highest grade I made on a math test my entire middle school career, and since there were bonus points on it, there's a good chance my entire high school career too. Safe to say I made it to Walmart on October 3rd, 2014, and I remember that day too, only looked it up to check. Smash Wii U was a similar, albeit less academically impressive story. Went to the store, added 60 smackers to Walmart's coffers. Brawl I got later on as a Christmas present in 2015, I want to say. Can't quite remember what year it was, but around 2015 for sure. Brawl is pretty solid, but I shelved it pretty quickly just to Smash 4, spoiling me with, actually good controls. Brawl has always felt just way too floaty for me, sorry. Smash Ultimate is another game I was super excited for. I counted down the days when it first got announced all the way to its release. I listened to all the Game Explained discussions to help me fall asleep, and when it finally released, I was overjoyed. Except it couldn't be released on December 6th. I mean, come on Nintendo, you had me counting down from June all the way to Pearl Harbor Day. As for Melee, I played it for a collective 30 minutes, and I can't stand it because it feels weird. I've always wanted to really sit down with Melee, and I own a GameCube now and everything, and even though I can spend $80 on gas like nothing, spending $60 on Melee is just completely out of my financial reach, sorry guys. But what about Smash 64? Is it good? Let's boot this puppy up. This intro is nothing short of magical. Opening in a bedroom and a weird hand thing pulls the toys out of the box, counts down, and then chaos erupts. Giving us a quick introduction on these characters and then some more scenes with the characters in their home worlds, and then a Mario Kirby stare down leading up to... Wowie. This intro is really good and sets the tone of the game right off the bat. Smash Bros is kinda ridiculous with its cast of colorful characters and locations, but this cast of colorful characters isn't messing around. Heading on into the menu here, we've got 4 options: 1 player, versus mode, option, and data. We'll discuss some of the extra content first before jumping into the gameplay itself. And data is just that, containing a sound test, a versus record, and a characters section that gives some background to the characters we're playing as here. We got your Nintendo must-haves like Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Pikachu, Fox, and Kirby. Then we have 4 more unlockable characters: Luigi, Captain Falcon, Ness, and Jigglypuff. What? There are people out there who are kind of confused about the inclusion of these fairly obscure characters. Now obviously Luigi isn't that obscure, but I mean, come on, Captain Falcon is a tiny silhouette in F-Zero on the NES, and a JPEG in F-Zero X. Ness is from Earthbound, but the game was relatively unknown outside of Japan at the time, and Jigglypuff is carried by the, 2 scenes it had in the anime. And while these unlockable characters contrast pretty hard against the extremely well-known main cast, I think their inclusion is fantastic. First of all, these characters were put on the map by their Smash incarnations. Captain Falcon was established in pop culture with his iconic Falcon Punch move, and Smash likely helped Earthbound become the cult classic game it is today. Jigglypuff and Luigi were helped less so, considering that they were both already fairly well established in their franchises, but these characters also helped give Smash some unique identity in the context of it as a museum of gaming history. I mean, everyone would expect Mario and Luigi to battle each other in a game like this, but the F-Zero guy and Jigglypuff fighting? That's crazy! I should try out this Smash Bros thing! For those who don't know how Smash works, basically you beat up your opponent to increase their damage percentage, then unleash a powerful enough attack to knock them off the stage, and if they can't recover from it, you either gain a point or make them lose a life. Lives are referred to in this series as stocks. You have 2 main ways of tacking on percentage points: direct attacks, special moves, and grabs. For direct attacks, there is a basic move used by pressing the A button, commonly called a jab, and if you move the control stick slightly in 3 directions, up, to the side, or down, you can launch 3 tilt attacks depending on the direction. These tilt attacks can be cranked up to smash attacks by flicking the stick rather than just moving it slightly, and those are the more powerful ones that send opponents sailing. But they tend to be on the slower side compared to your jab and tilts. Special moves typically add some flair or mechanical difficulty to things. There are 3 specials: an up special, a down special, and a neutral special, all using the B button. And finally, your grab. Activate this and you'll be able to grab and throw an opponent in 2 directions, either forwards or backwards. To balance this out, there are defensive options here too. Shields block most direct attacks and special moves, but grabs pierce shields, creating a neat triangle effect. You can also dodge by flicking the stick left or right while shielding. Now for the actual gameplay. Wow, that's rough. The newer games have certainly done a fantastic job of spoiling me, that's for sure. Everything just feels so nightmarishly floaty here, even more so than Brawl. You jump and it takes the better half of a decade to float back down, which isn't helped by the primordial controls. Also, you can't change the controls in this game, so you're stuck with the default control scheme, which is, putting it nicely. So Smash Bros. Has this thing called tap jump, where if you flick up on the analog stick, you'll jump. Now, something I neglected to mention earlier, there are aerial moves, more specifically up aerial moves. And it's so much fun when you want to, use an up aerial to catch a falling opponent and send them flying back into the air, only to jump right past them because I was a little too forceful with the stick. Also, the C buttons are all set to jump instead of smash attacks like in later games, so instead of being able to pop an aerial, you just jump. Cool. Also, smash attacks feel like they take way more precision here, like you really have to think about flicking the stick and pressing A at the same time, instead of just close to each other like in later games. Well, enough ranting about how later games have spoiled me. Looking at this game in a vacuum, it's not bad. For a first entry, darn! Look, the platform fighting game from 1999 is kinda showing its age, sorry. Anyways, glaring competitive bias aside, the battles are spiced up quite a bit by the variety of items and stages, and I will create a tier list for the stages, there you go. And no, my glaring competitive bias definitely didn't influence this at all for sure. As for the items, there's not too many here, and the ones that are here are pretty obvious inclusions in my opinion. Things like the Maxim Tomato from Kirby, the Koopa Shells from Mario, Pokeballs that summon random Pokemon to help out in battle, unless you get a Goldeen that just uses Splash. Pretty good item set here, I must admit. I will say, for the Nintendo 64, this is a shockingly stable game. It runs at a pretty consistent frame rate with quite a bit of action on screen at any given time. Of course, there are some pretty obvious cut corners here, with environments being skyboxes and relatively minimal 3D geometry. A few of the items here are just 2D sprites alongside some of the environmental details. The characters look solid though. Sure, they're blocky, but the animation work is on par with modern games, especially characters like Mario, with his athletic-based attacks sending him flipping through the air. But to be honest, the shortcomings were probably way less noticeable on the fuzzy Nintendo 64 display, and playing it on the Wii Virtual Console makes the outdated graphics show that much more. As for the single-player offerings, there's not too much here, but it's fine enough. One-player mode is a romp through a few battles, culminating with a duel against Master Hand, the thingy in the intro. Anyways, this mode is the same for each character, the only difference being the break the targets and board the platforms bonus rounds that actually do take advantage of each character's unique movesets. In conclusion, Smash 64 is kinda mediocre. It's a solid game that has tarnished with time, and that's sort of a trend with the Nintendo 64. All of the games on it revolutionized their respective genres and are huge landmarks in gaming history, but every time you call a Nintendo 64 game good, you have to make this face.
Zelda Ocarina of Time is a great game.
See? But the sheer importance of Smash 64 can't be ignored. I mean, this game started the series that would later become a sort of museum of gaming as a whole, a massive celebration of the entire medium, and that's something truly special.
So that's Smash 64. See, sometimes you just need to slow down and enjoy a classic game.